Jim, I have to tell you about some synchronicities that have been happening that I've noticed, and you've noticed a couple of them too, where Saturday we were going into town and walking down the street, and this woman on a bike, Tina, happened to be right there at that time. Like, it was very odd. Like, we don't know many people here, so how is it that we were walking down the street at that moment and she was there? And then there was that night we went to the theater, and it was the oddest thing where people were standing in a line, and the line started at a water fountain, and we came in and we just went way to another spot way in front of it and stood there.
You mean in front of the door where the play was going to happen?
In front of the door, and then they all moved from the water fountain behind us. So we got in this magical way. It was a very odd synchronistic day that day. Many little things just, so why?
How do synchronicities happen? Why do synchronicities happen?
And were we in a special twilight zone?
You are in a special twilight zone most of the time, so it's acceptable that you have these. So let's put it in this context, because it's a kind of a fascinating thing for paying attention to, synchronicities. So one of the things that's happening that I talk about in Mastering Alchemy often is these two stratas of consciousness. So we're in a shift, and the shift is changing things by definition. But for the most part, we just do what we do. So some of the interesting things that are happening is in this strata, there's one strata that's moving into well-being, mm-hmm. and there's another strata, third dimension, where people are still in lack and fear, and they're going to stay in that strata for some time. But those of us, and many that are listening, are moving into this. So it's synchronicity is a useful thing to kind of pay attention to, because it's kind of humorous on one hand, and it also is very telling. So as you begin to move into this state of well-being, things come to you. Mm-hmm. And so you begin to have thoughts that you're not necessarily paying attention to, and all of a sudden something that fulfills that thought begins to happen. One of these little pieces of it is these synchronicities. So in that case where Tina showed up on a bike at 8:45 in the morning, unrelated to anything, why? Why does that happen?
We had been sitting in the car listening to the radio. If we would have stopped listening to the radio a second later.
Yeah, or a second earlier. So, and these things continue to happen, and we keep having these in absolutely bizarre ways that happen. I mean, we're standing in the middle of Panama in a place that has no electricity, no lights, no running water, no toilets, outside of a little town, looking at a mango plantation, and somebody standing next to us also looking at the plantation says, "Are you Jim Self?" Now, or in Nicaragua, just deciding to walk into a restaurant just because, and finding a student 7 years ago that says, "Oh, Jim Self."
Yeah.
So how do these things happen? And so I'm finding it amusing, but there are going to be lots more synchronicities, and they have a lot of potential if you begin to pay attention. And when I say potential, one of the things I mean is if you start to pay attention to your intentions and then decide you really want that vacation, or you really want to go to those movies, you're going to start to find these synchronicities in such a way that what you ask for is going to come to you.
It's like years ago when I wanted this little red car. And I did the research, I knew exactly which one it was, and in the process of deciding, I'm going other places, and all I see are little red cars. Mm-hmm. And same with the Cooper years ago.
Mm-hmm. But right now, that synchronicity, if you pay attention to it, is part of this shifting consciousness. Mm-hmm. And it's very much in your best interest, in my opinion, to pay attention, because it allows you to start to, one, notice the success, the aha, the humor of the synchronicity, and then you step back and you say, how did that happen? In a really kind of amusing way. How did that happen? Well, it happened because I asked for this last week. It happened because I was thinking about this yesterday. So when you start to put together what I was thinking about, and it happened, and holding this awareness that in this kind of fifth dimensional state of well-being, you don't go to get things. You don't have to effort and work and research and figure out go to. It's in this space where you're going to start to find, if I think it and just hold my awareness and allow it without need, it'll come to me. And the number of people in Mastering Alchemy that I keep talking to that are getting it, and many are getting it, and what they're saying repeatedly is, this is really amazing. And I intended this, which is out of my box normally, and I just held my awareness on it with some amusement and no need, and I got the job offer, or I got this opportunity to go to, or all of a sudden I needed my credit level raised and somebody sent me a note saying raise your
Or the
credit.
dress was on sale.
Or the dress was on sale.
Yeah.
So make it amusing, make it kind of entertaining, and at the same time pay attention, because right now there are about to be many absolutely knock your socks off experiences that are coming in technologies, in different opportunities that are going to come, and they're there to be directed by you. Versus last week we talked about the unintended consequences of not paying attention and the world kind of showing up on your doorstep on its terms. This is important, because this is the place where you begin to start to have some play and success, and then you're going to begin to realize that I can influence direction. I can make things happen that are in well-being, that start to nurture a direction. And that's the next step of how we are evolving in this whole process and this shift in consciousness.
I think in addition to being aware of when the synchronicities happen, is to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Validate yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I was aligned. I was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, that's a good piece of this.
Yeah.
So go out and play with amusement and kind of enjoy what happens because of you.